Hey, you are most welcome, and today we are going to extract text from images just using a few lines of Python. Let's get started. My name is Ronnie Atuhaire, aka Afroboytex, and I'm glad that you chose this video. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you keep in touch with what is happening. If you do love what I'm doing, you could actually also comment. Thank you so much. So before we move on, I'm going to introduce to you two packages that we're actually going to use. Those are like libraries that we're going to use in this particular video, and that is PyTesseract and OpenCV. So what is PyTesseract? PyTesseract is basically a wrapper for Google's Tesseract optical character recognition engine. It is very useful because it is a standalone invocation script to Tesseract, the real engine. So basically, a PyTesseract is a Python implementation of the Tesseract engine, and it allows all types of images because it has Pillow. It's supported by Pillow and Leptonic imaging libraries, and those include JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, bitmaps, TIFFs, and to mention but others. So today we are going to see how we can use PyTesseract. That is a Python implementation of the Tesseract, because Tesseract is really an excellent and open source engine for optical character recognition. That's basically OCR, though it cannot read PDFs on its own, so you have to convert PDFs maybe to PNG format, something like that. And the other library I would want to introduce is the OpenCV. We all know OpenCV if you've been in the Python space, and basically it's a library of Python bindings designed to solve computer vision problems, and actually uses NumPy, and you could call it numerical Python or NumPy, whatever you want to call it, which is actually a highly optimized library for numerical operations, MATLAB style syntax. And OpenCV structure is actually converted to and from using those numerical Python arrays, basically NumPy arrays. So this is going to make it easy to integrate with other libraries that use NumPy, such as SciPy and Matplotlib, something like that. So for you, if you want to install Tesseract on Linux, it could be something like I'm going to open up my Linux application, and yes, so I'm in Linux right now. So to be able to install Tesseract, I will do something like this: sudo apt-get Tesseract. That means I'm assuming that you don't have it. So when you click here, it asks for your password, you put it in. Operation, invalid operation, Tesseract. So to install it on Kali Linux, it would be something like this: sudo apt-get sudo apt-get, we'll do sudo apt-get, we can do Tesseract OCR. So to install it on Linux, I'm assuming that you have Linux now. You do sudo apt-get apt-get install Tesseract OCR. Basically now we're trying to install the engine itself. You do Tesseract OCR. So it will take some time, and it will ask if you want to continue. You say yes, and boom, you're connected. So I will not wait for this to actually download. I'm going to take you through the Windows side on how to actually get started with Windows, because I'll be using Windows. This is basically a sub Linux that I'm actually running inside Windows. And for you to be able to continue with Windows, I'm going to leave the GitHub link in the description if you want to download Windows. But we're going to run I'm going to take you to that website basically. So this is the page for downloading Tesseract engine on your machine, and I will consider you to do the executable if you're on Windows. And this is how basically I'm going to install it. I will leave the link of the installer in the description of my YouTube of this video. So to be able to install, you can come and actually see that the latest installers are here. So depending on your machine, I have a 64-bit, so you just have to click on this. So after clicking on this, you go through the process. I already have this installed, and I will cancel from here. So you go through the process of installing the executable, basically this 64 executable. Then after that, let's get started with Python code. Yes, so with me here now, I have VS Code. I've created a new file and I've called it text extract. And in this file, we're going to see how we can just implement a few lines of Python to be able to extract. And I also have a sample image that I've called sample.png. Basically, it's an image that contains words. So I'm going to extract these words, for example, from this particular image. So under the terminal, we can now install our Python binding of Tesseract, and there you just have to say pip install py Tesseract, something like this. Yeah, since I already have it installed, it will just say this. I already have the py Tesseract engine. So I will stop from here. Then now another library you want to install is actually OpenCV. To install OpenCV, it is OpenCV-Python. Since I also have it installed, you are good to go. So let's get started. The other library that actually I want to use is the OS library to walk us through the current folders or through the Windows directories. So that one comes pre-bundled with Python. If you have Python, you already have the OS library and you don't need to install anything. So I'm just going to clear my screen again. Maybe let me just change the color to something that is actually pleasable. Then now let's get started. I'm going to import py Tesseract, because that's like our main engine. So after importing py Tesseract, also I'm going to import the OS module. Then I'm also going to import OpenCV. I'm going to call it OpenCV, something like that. And actually, for OpenCV to be able to import it, you want to call CV2. It's actually CV2. How to use? Sorry, my bad. Yes, to import OpenCV. And then let's get started. So what we need actually is to tell our program, our Python file, where this engine is that you actually just installed. So to do that, let me look for my file that I've where I've installed, for example, where I've installed that Tesseract executable. So by default my installations are going to program files, so under program files I can come there and look for it manually. I know it's a T, so I could just click on T and then it becomes here, and then I look for the executable. To look for the executable, usually it has the same name, so I have to scroll down, and maybe I can just do T, and boom, it's here. Yes, this is our Tesseract.exe. so you just have to come and copy this path. So after copying this path, you bring it to our program. Then remember, okay, let's just change. Remember, you need to point it directly to actually where the executable is. So I'll just say Tesseract, and the name should be the right one, .exe, and this is actually going to be a raw string. So you could do this and put an arrow here. Then now we are going, this is where actually it's where our engine is actually installed on our machine, because we're now trying to tell the Tesseract where to find the Tesseract engine, the PyTesseract binding, where to find the Tesseract engine. So now to be able to actually show that that it is here, we need to write this. You just say PyTesseract. So basically it's a class, so you could actually do import PyTesseract as P. So to just avoid this, you could just say now P, and the class is going to be PyTesseract. Under the PyTesseract class, we are actually having the Tesseract CMD, because we shall be using via command line. So you can just say Tesseract CMD class, which is going to be equal to this. Yes, basically this is it. You're just telling where your file is. So as you realize the escape character, in order for this to work, we need to add another escape character. As you can see, it is already affecting it, it's already highlighted, and now we are good to go. So in order to continue and we see what we actually have so far so good, I could maybe print out my current working folder. I could just say print, I could just say os.list directory. This is a method. This method is actually comes with the OS. So if I printed out this, it should be able to print the current working directory. I could just call it pwd. Let me just call it pwd. So if I save this run our program, it should be able to print the current directory. Something not right. Oh, okay. It returns a list. Yes, it returns a list of what is actually in there. So now let's continue. I can actually now comment this out. But what if I wanted to find out my real image, what my image is actually? For example, I want to tell my program that this is my image. So what I would do, I would just use, maybe I could create another file, another list. I could say my file, because maybe it's going to be a list, and I will say for file in my folder, I just want to, okay, for file in pwd, if file dot what we're trying to do here is trying to find out if there are actually images in that folder. So we have a method called ends with, and this actually helps us to identify PNGs, JPGs. Basically that's it. So if that file is in there, then print that file. So I have to come to this, do this, yes, save. So let's run this again. Let's see what we have now. It's taking long because we have to use the engine. We're also calling the engine, that's why it's a little bit slow. As you can see, our file is actually being noticeable here. So what next now we need to do is maybe we can append this image, or we could actually append it to my files, or if you have a list of images. So what you could do, you could actually say my file, could do my file dot append file. So if we come here and we did a print of my file, we should be able, if I comment this out, should be able to have the same result, but this time in a list. So since it's one image, we should expect one image in our list. Yes, that's it. Now what next is we are going to create a reader. So to be able to create a reader, let me just comment this out. So we already identified now our files. For example, if I have a lot of files, so I'm going to create a method. I'm going to call it extractor. So after calling it extractor, it's going to take we may leave it, may not take anything, but we want to look through the images that are there and then we do something to them. So to do that, let me just reduce this. Okay, so we're going to look through for maybe for image, I would say, okay, for image in my file. Remember, this is a list, so we could actually put some good descriptive meaning here. I could just say we could append the S such that this makes sense. So now we want to be able to read the image. So to be able to read the image, we can create a function, a variable we call just it read image. And now we're going to use OpenCV, because remember that's what helps us to read images, computer vision. So we shall say CV2. It has a method to read which is called IMRead. Basically it is image read. Then after reading, we take in this image that we're actually trying to read. So after reading this image, now we want to be able to extract the text. So we can call this method of text from the PyTesseract. So we need to do now an image to string, because basically now this is now an image. So we want to now to be able to convert this and be able to read text from it. So we shall call P, which is actually our PyTesseract. Then we say image to string function. Now we shall take in our read image. Yeah, something like this. I believe we are good so far. And so we want to be able now to open file so that we actually write this text. So before maybe we do that, let's try to print our text and see if we have our text coming through. So I'm going to come and then I will run my extractor here. Okay, let me just correct this. Yes, this makes sense now. I run my extractor, so it actually calls the OpenCV function to read the image that we've just actually selected, which is from this, the sample image. Then we extract text. So should be good. So if you run the program again, boom, whoa, it's working. So these are the words we actually have in they may not be perfect, but as you can see, it tries as much as it can to read the file. So if you go back to our file, which is here, you can see it has actually tried, because this is 6 up to 6 and top 6. If you look at it, yeah, it has tried. So there's some little space here, but at least you have what you want. You can actually start from here, and let's now be able to write this information that we've extracted to a text file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the screen. Let me just clear this and come here, so that we actually open our file. Then we put our text information that we've gotten, and that's it. Basically, that's the only remaining thing that we should do now if you want to store this text, this file. So I'm going to call this my extracted text, or I can say my text. So my text is going to be basically opening a file and putting and appending in that data. So I'm going to open a file. I can call it anything. I can just say text, then the text.txt. This is very important. Then we shall open this file in append mode, and we add unto it. Yeah, that's it basically. So now we need to be able now to actually write our text with the write function. So just say my text dot write. Now let's close. So we can now come here and let's say my text, my text. Now we can say my text dot close. Something not right here. We are trying to read because you need to be able to, what are we writing into here. So we actually writing this text, yes. So we need now to be able to close this. Of course, there's a better way of doing this, and this is just basically for this video, but you could do something with open the context manager, and it helps you to do some default memory management and garbage collection. It automatically closes. So you'd want to use a with here. That's my challenge to you. So let me close this. Let me just comment that out. Then if it is done, let it bring something that it's actually done. So I'm going to make my function return done. I'll just say done. So let's go and try to see if our function is still moving on well. So I will call my function again, my file again, my text with extract .py, then run the file. So we expect a file to be created, which is text.txt, and we actually see nothing here coming through. So the reason could be that we didn't put a print statement under here, because return just doesn't return this. But as you can see, our text file is actually being written here. We have our text file, and our text file is there, but we're not getting anything in the command line that this thing has actually worked. So you could do try and accept blocks. That's my challenge to you. And for you to be able actually to have something here, you want to add a print statement here. Just wrap this into print, maybe I could first delete this again such that you see what I'm talking about. Run it again. Boom. So here at least we are sure that we are good. And maybe you could also, as I said, add in try and accept block. So as we come here, you'll see that our text file is here. Yes, that's it for today, and if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye bye.